Clem is a precious angel and you must protect her at all costs. The rest of the game doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is protecting Clem. Okay, now that that's out of the way, TellTale presents The Walking Dead Season 1 as a game where you step in the shoes of Lee Everett, as he's headed off to prison for a crime that's not really clear at the beginning of the game. After an intense car crash, you get your first taste of zombie blood. The game follows the first couple of months of the zombie apocalypse. One of the central themes of the game is how Lee's treated by people who know who he is and people who don't. The people who know who he is don't trust him at all and take every opportunity to take advantage of his status as a criminal to try and manipulate him against others. You have the option of falling for this leverage, or you have the option to do what's best for the group. I always pick to do what was best for the group. The people who try and manipulate you never have good intentions, so it's always easier to say, screw your little manipulation, I'm going to stick with the group and do what's best for them. And Clem. Also Clem. Always Clem. The gameplay is mostly based around who you favor in the game. Always Clem, but sometimes you're in situations where you can pick to do something dangerously or pick to do something safely, and those situations have consequences. You can lose characters based on the way you decide to approach something. But unlike most point-and-click adventures, you don't die and start over whenever you pick a wrong choice. The wrong choices affect your friends, not always you, but there are some situations where you can get yourself killed. So the main thing to focus on is picking the characters that you want to have around. The game doesn't ever put you in a situation where you picking the wrong choice, screws you over for the entire game. There's no answer that doesn't lead to the end of the game. But some characters are more fun to have around than others, and some characters are assholes. And if you take care of those asshole characters, sometimes they come around, sometimes they don't, and they just continue to be assholes until they're dead. I want to try and keep this review as spoiler-free as possible, so I'm going to tell you the feelings that I got from the ending, but not actually tell you how the game ends. It's basically a St. Peter-esque, look-through of all of the decisions you make over the game, basically saying, well, you chose this, you should have chose this. The only thing that I would have liked more is for there have to been wrong answers. There weren't really wrong answers, just kind of different strokes for different folks. You're in situations where you could choose to do something safely or you could choose do something dangerously, but both sides have merits and both sides have a point you can argue. I wanted there to be some wrong answers. I wanted there to be some choices you could have picked that was like, you did this. Anyone in the world could see this was a wrong choice. There are some situations where you have Clem with you and you don't have Clem with you, and, both of those things could be a wrong answer. Oh, well, you took Clem with you into this dangerous situation. Or you didn't take Clem and you left her alone. Both of those can be, read as good or bad. So, none of the answers that you could pick are wrong, but just having that person throw those choices in your face and make you deal with them really adds another level of weight to the game, where not only did you pick all of these choices and the things that actually happened, you also have the fact that now at the end someone's saying, look at these things you did. And you have to kind of man, was I making the right choice here when I did this? The ending of this game is one of those things, I'm not a crier. I mean, people are like, oh my god, you watched the Titanic, did you cry? No, she could have just put him on the damn door with her. What was the point of that? I don't even think Jack was real. I think that was all made up. But, if you look at it objectively, Rose is just kind of a thought that was here's this dude that I fucked on a boat. So in closing, if you're looking for a competitive RPG, first-person shooter, racing, any of those type of games, this isn't it. This game, as far as gameplay, it's not really anything to write home about. It's not, the actual game engine isn't the greatest thing that's ever been made. You're really just making choices and following a story. But if you want a very compelling story and you can let yourself get lost in the characters and the world, absolutely play this game. It's not a super huge time sink. I think maybe altogether it'd take you 12 hours to beat it. I think each story is between an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. There's 5 different parts altogether. Put them together, it's about 12 hours or so. So it's nothing that you're going to be sinking time into for days, but the game is never at a point. There's no such thing as grinding. All the worst parts are when you're looking for an item or looking for, the sequence of events you need to continue the story, but none of it is super long. You're never going to get stuck. So if you're just wanting something so you can just sit and kind of get engaged in the story, this game is perfect for you. But like I said, if you're looking for any competitive aspect, it's not going to be here. You're looking for, first-person shooters. There are some shooty elements just because of the nature of the story, but none of it's going to be like, oh man, I just fucking 360 no-scope this motherfucker. No, it's just, you just shoot zombies. So if you can get into the characters and the story, you are definitely in for a ride. Still like, my camera shifts so it's looking right at you. Oh, just play this game. That ending. Just like after you play the game, go look up a video of that scene and watch the end really closely. If you don't catch it the first time you see it, in subsequent times you will see what I'm talking about, and then when it happens, you will be like, oh, they got me. Oh, they got me. They got me. Over the course of the entire game, my desire to keep Clem safe never waned once. All I could think about once I got into the game was making sure that Clem was as safe as possible. And that fire drove me to do things in that game that I would have questioned in real life. But in the game, when you get into that zone where all you can think about is making sure that Clem is safe, you will stab, you will shoot, you will kill people, you will kill zombies, you will make decisions to not trust people, you will get upset about actions that happen from people, things that wouldn't even click in your brain, like, until you have that moment where you're like, but Clem is here, or but what about Clem? Where is she? What's going, like, I lost it a little bit. Clem is one of my favorite characters that I've ever dealt with in a game, and as the rest of the series proceeds to kind of follow her, my brain can't stop. I can't not see how that story ends because I love her so much. I'm so glad that the series is getting continued by Robert Kirkman's game development company. So they're taking on the final seasons of The Walking Dead and actually making the rest of the story out where it wasn't going to happen before. That made me so happy because I need to see what happens to Clem. Like, I'm so fucking sad that I know the answer is going to be she dies at the end, because there's no way that they could end that story without killing her. But I have to see it anyways. Like, there is no way that story can end without her dying, because if she's still alive, they will make another game. Like, there's no way that this series ends without her dying. I said it like 3 times already, but there's no way, because she's such an interesting character. She has such a concrete story built around her. I want to do another video where I talk about how basically the story of her is a story of like women, and specifically minority women in poverty. And there's a lot of lines that I could connect there, but that's a story for another video. But she is such a well-developed character. Like, I think she already won some awards for being a very well-developed character, but she deserves some awards for being such a well-developed character. Like, I don't think a video game series has made a more developed character than Clem. So, anyways, if you have not played The Walking Dead Season 1, and like I said, you can handle that type of game, I'm not saying every person in the world should go out and buy this game, because there are people who I know just can't deal with the type of game that The Walking Dead is. Like, if you're like, you have that Call of Duty like mindset where you need to shoot things and you need achievements and stuff like that, this game is not going to do it for you. And That's, I mean, everyone to each their own. That's your thing. That's how you play games. That's fine. But if you can just sit and enjoy a story, sit and play this game and just take your brain, whatever you have in it, whatever preconceptions you have about how it should go, and just like take that out of your head and put in your head, Clem is amazing, keep her safe, and you will love this game. And she deserves it because she's like, they wrote they did one of the things that Hollywood has immense trouble with writing a little girl, and her not being a pain in the ass. Like, Clem is not a pain in the ass. She has one pain in the ass moment, but it happens with all of the. It's built up all across the whole story. It's not a surprise. It's not just her being like, I'm deciding I'm going to be a douchebag right now. Like, it's built up over the entire story. Mistakes are made all the way through that lead to it. And when it happens and it's concluded, she immediately understands and is immediately sorry for the thing that she did. Okay, I'm done ranting about Clem and Walking Dead Season 1. It's really fucking good. Go check it out. Crew.0 out.